basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. With a good squad, but still not a favorite for the championship, can the Warriors still make a big change during the season? Yes, because there are 3 players who probably won't stay with the Warriors for long, due to some factors, such as Andrew Wiggins' high salary, Kevin Looney's drop in performance and the non-extension of Jonathan Kuminga's contract. The Golden State Warriors are entering a new era after they failed to make the playoffs because the Sacramento Kings gave them the boot in the play-in tournament. Klay Thompson is now a member of the Dallas Mavericks, leaving Stephen Curry and Draymond Green as the 2 aging stars left from the dynasty. The Warriors tried to make multiple big splashes over the summer but ultimately failed in their efforts to land Paul George and Lauri Markkanen. The Dubs wound up making some smaller additions to the roster, but they could still try to make a splash during the season. While it seems as if Brandon Podziemski is essentially untouchable, here are some other Warriors trade candidates to keep an eye on. Kevin Looney. There's no question that Kevin Looney was also a huge piece to the Dubs dynasty. He was one of the big men who anchored the Warriors' frontcourt in their golden era. To make matters more interesting, Looney did make a significant transformation during the offseason after his effectiveness waned in 2023-24. While the Warriors guaranteed his contract earlier this year, Looney was part of trade discussions when they were pursuing several All-Star candidates. Although none were successful, Looney remains a trade candidate to watch. Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins was a huge piece in the Warriors' last championship run. However, last season wasn't exactly a head-turner for the 2022 All-Star forward. Wiggins missed a huge chunk of the 2022-2023 season due to personal issues and then saw his numbers dip last season. Furthermore, the Warriors even prevented Wiggins from playing for the Canadian national team at the 2024 Paris Olympics. Back in 2022, Wiggins inked a 4-year deal worth $109 million. Given that Wiggins hasn't exactly lived up to the contract, he has been mentioned in trade talks for a while now, with nothing coming to fruition. His name will surely continue to come up in conversations. Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga has shown flashes of being a major force to be reckoned with. But despite his impact with the Warriors after a solid 2023-24 season, Kuminga and the Dubs failed to come to terms on a contract extension. Kuminga was seeking a deal in the range of a max contract, but Golden State hasn't seen enough to give him that yet. While the Warriors and Kuminga could still wind up in a long-term partnership, other teams will be watching his situation. If things go south, the young forward could be a coveted trade target ahead of his restricted free agency. Warriors players could be impacted by Moses Moody's contract extension. What does Moody's new deal mean for these players? The Golden State Warriors and Moses Moody reached a contract extension agreement prior Monday's deadline, with the 4th-year wing signing a 3-year, $39 million deal. It's a huge development for Moody, whose career with the Warriors has previously been plagued by inconsistent playing time, as well as regular trade speculation that included his name being part of the franchise's package for Utah Jazz forward Lauri Markkanen in July/August. Golden State were very meticulous with their contracts during the summer, having positioned themselves just under the first tax apron entering this season. Moody's salary is set to bump from $5.8 million this season to $11.6 million in 2025-26, and while that's not a drastic raise, it's enough to potentially impact those who the Warriors will have to make contract decisions on in the next 12 months. Let's have a look at 4 players who may be impacted by the Moody extension. Gary Payton II and Kevin Looney. Both Gary Payton and Kevin Looney are entering the season on expiring contracts, and based on their form from 2023-24, it's difficult to envisage them again making $8 to $9 million per year on their next deal. The Warriors could easily view the veteran duo as their best avenue to accommodating for Moody's new contract. perhaps they let one or both walk in free agency, or at least bring them back on reduced deals that make up the difference of Moody's raise. As with Kuminga and Melton, it will all be determined by their respective impact this season. Jonathan Kuminga. As Moody got himself a rookie extension, the same couldn't be said for fourth-year lottery pick Jonathan Kuminga. The duo may be in completely different situations, but there is little doubt that the front office would have viewed them together in relation to the overall payroll situation going forward. Kuminga may play well enough to earn a significant contract anyway in restricted free agency, yet any offer from Golden State, or decision to match, will involve Moody's deal within the calculations. DeAnthony Melton. After signing with the Warriors on the mid-level exception in the offseason, DeAnthony Melton will be hoping to raise his value before re-entering free agency in 2025. Moody's extension doesn't just figure to impact what Golden State may be willing to pay Melton in free agency, but that's multiplied tenfold by the fact they play similar positons. Will the Warriors be willing to pay both players between $11 to $15 million, particularly if they both spend the majority of the season as bench players? If Moody proves himself capable of being a 25-minute-per-game rotation player, perhaps they'll be more willing to let Melton walk. No contract extension will lead to conjecture on Jonathan Kuminga's future with the Warriors and will likely inspire trade speculation. Whereas fellow fourth-year lottery pick Moses Moody secured his future with a 3-year, $39 million extension with Golden State, Kuminga will now enter next offseason as a restricted free agent. Just as we saw with Klay Thompson throughout last season, Kuminga's future is sure to be an ongoing storyline. Although he can no longer sign a contract in season as Thompson could have, there will remain similar conjecture on Kuminga's future with the franchise. Whether rightly or wrongly, his play throughout the season will be accompanied by the conversation of how it will impact his and Golden State's free agency plans. Moody now has a poison pill contract, which makes him very difficult to move in a trade this season, yet the same can't be said for Kuminga. Regardless of how he's playing, it's inevitable that there will be some form of trade speculation regarding the former 7th overall pick, something that's been fairly common over his first 3 seasons in the league anyway. Kuminga's trade value may have been diminished though, with any team that does want to acquire him essentially accepting that they'll have to pay at least $20 to $25 million per year, more likely $30+ million, in free agency to keep him around long-term. Could the Warriors still use Kuminga as a key piece in a blockbuster trade before February's midseason deadline? Again, that idea will surely be floated, particularly if Kuminga and/or Golden State get off to a less-than-ideal start, and the need for a genuine second star becomes even more obvious.